The agency calling the account misguided and false. An extraordinary tale claiming the CIA pulled a high-level asset out of Moscow over a claim President Trump mishandled classified information.
Here's Democratic Senator Joe Manchin's reaction to all of it last hour.
We depend on the intel we get. And now having a situation to where that could be compromised and we're not getting the intel that's needed to keep Russia at bay, to keep our elections open and free, is very concerning to me.
Chief Intelligence Correspondent Catherine Herridge running the story down in Washington. A bit confusing at times. Catherine, go ahead and sort it out. Good morning.
Thanks, Bill. I'll walk you through it. So since the story broke last night, what I've learned through my reporting as well as my 2 decades of covering the intelligence community is that when the CIA makes the decision to exfiltrate or pull out an asset, this is a very deliberative process, and it's based on multiple factors. So a series of events and information, not a single episode or incident. And the reason that is that once the CIA pulls out an asset, that asset is burned. But more specifically, once the asset is pulled, it creates risk for their networks of contacts who remain inside that country, in this case, Russia, because they're under additional scrutiny and jeopardy. The CIA took the very unusual step last night of issuing a public statement in response to the CNN report. It reads in part, quote, misguided speculation that the president's handling of our nation's most sensitive intelligence, which he has access to each and every day, drove an alleged exfiltration operation is inaccurate. What I've since learned since that statement was released last night is that the decision to pull out an asset was based on intelligence that was made public, that was necessary to make public as a result of the ICA. That was the intelligence community assessment on Russian election interference. And that what followed after that widespread media reporting that one of the key sources for the ICA was extremely close to Vladimir Putin, Bill.
Okay, so more to come on this. And also, what are we hearing on the Michael Flynn matter that starts in about 1 hour, Catherine?
Right. This is a very big day in the Michael Flynn case. His legal team this morning at a D.C. federal court is seeking to put the special counsel Robert Mueller investigation on trial. You see that file video right there of the former national security advisor. His new legal team, he fired the one that was responsible for his guilty plea almost 2 years ago, have filed a series of motions, and they allege gross prosecutorial misconduct on behalf of special counsel investigators. They also claim that evidence that could have helped Flynn in his defense was withheld by the government prosecutors, what they call exculpatory evidence or Brady material. And if you take a pause and think about what's happened in the 2 years since Flynn's guilty plea to lying to federal investigators about his contact with the Russian ambassador, what we know now is that the agent who led the Flynn interview in January of 2017 was Peter Strzok, who was dismissed from the special counsel investigation because his anti-Trump texts. And the second agent, who's largely been under the radar, Joe Pientka, was the connective tissue, if you will, was the point of contact for Justice Department official Bruce Orr, you see in the center, as well as the former British spy Christopher Steele, who was behind the anti-Trump dossier. Remember, Steele was fired, but he was able to continue to provide information to the FBI through Orr, and the person who took the notes was that agent Pientka. The key thing today is whether Judge Sullivan is going to accept any of these arguments or whether he will reject them. Prosecutors have said in their filings that they have provided Flynn's legal team with all of the relevant records, and they also point to the fact that Flynn pled guilty almost 2 years ago to the crime of lying to federal investigators over those Russian contacts, Bill.
Catherine, thank you. We'll see what happens in court today in Washington.